we go. Get ready to have a good time. This is exciting, isn't it?
All right, we're on.
Hello, testing.
Welcome aboard the Dreamliner.
It's the only way to fly.
Listen, we need something that will play to your strengths of loving the sound of your own voice and talking forever. Podcasts.
Podcaster Garry Meier.
Garry.
Here's a young speaker who is really in demand.
Don't let that go to your head, Garry.
But wait, there's more.
That's what I'm talking about.
He's Garry Meier.
Hey, GarrForce, do you know what time it is?
Cocktails. Woo! Drinks.
Well, that's right, Gary. It's time for the Friday, October 8th, 2021 edition of the Garry Meier Show Cocktail Hour Live. Hey, Todd Pickering, tell folks about it.
We went wheels up. 6 Eastern, 5 Central, 4 Mountain, 3 Pacific, 2 Alaska, and Hawaii. Garry serves up yappetizers and other assorted nonsense. Leslie Kyling shares batches of news and provides commentary throughout the show, too. You bring your own beverages or whatnot, and you'll meet more folks along the way. We've been on the GarrForce Live YouTube channel and the Garry Meier Show Facebook page for more than a year now, and you can catch replays of this episode and all our past live shows in both those places.
Thanks, Todd, and of course, no matter where you are, it's time for a digital mimosa. You bring what you enjoy and be responsible about it. Garry podcasts 5 days a week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday podcasts are complimentary. Tuesday and Thursday podcasts are available to premium subscribers. Check out GarryMeier.com for more, or download his app in the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Comments are welcome on all of our live streaming channels, and yes, that includes Twitch. You can also text us at 773-888-2157. Regular charges may apply. Now, fasten your seatbelts, it's time to go wheels up on the GarrForce Live.
Hey everybody, welcome. Thank you, Alan Delinka. Yep, another cocktail show, and before we do anything, I have to kick the tires and light the fires to get wheels up, and if everything goes well, I'm hoping at the end that I have a Bravo Zulu, which is a task well performed in aviation slang. And I hope you had a good week, but actually it's almost better if you had a shitty week, because then you come here and go, screw that, that's over. Head into the weekend, and let me take a look at who has checked in the comment section through the screen door. Barbara, Anthony, Doug, Stephen, Tom, Cindy, Deborah, Joel. I believe that's Alan's brother. And I want to say hello to Johnny from Michigan. And Johnny says, happy Canadian Thanksgiving. What the hell is that? I mean, Canada has to get on board with everything. They've got some other things that are out of whack. Don't they have Boxing Day or something? They got to get on the calendar. Let's go. And I want to say that Lynn Tracy sent me another sign. If you can read this, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, except for alligators. Alligators will kill you. Thank you, Tracy. Really appreciate that. She has sent me a lot of nice stuff, like this screen door. That's where I got the screen door. And you got Dan, Chris, Martin from British Columbia. Everybody checking in right now. Good to see you. Sarah, Suzanne said she's finally been able to check out a cocktail show. She's from Wheeling, Illinois. Welcome. And oh boy, if you're in the Chicago area, Tom checked in. The White Sox have just lost game 2 in the best of 5 series. That's not good. If you're a White Sox fan, remember, and let me bring Leslie in, because I'm going to say hello to Leslie, and we're going to tease what we're giving away here. Hey, Les.
Hey, everybody. That whole Canadian Thanksgiving thing, I think, was a question on Jeopardy today. Not trying to screw it up for those of you who get it at a later time, but yeah, I think that's keep that in mind if you're playing along today.
I don't think that would screw it up, but if you tell us that Matt Amodio lost, that would be a big spoiler if you haven't seen it yet.
I'm not going to say anything.
Poker
regarding
face it,
that.
baby. Poker face it. All right. I know I've kicked the tires and lit the fires, but there's another element that has to happen for the show to start, and that's the removal of the wine condom. And would you do the
And
honors,
right now
please?
it's on a knock on wood Chardonnay.
Here
and
comes the
it's
condom off the wood.
Ready?
Oh, there. Oh,
right at you.
Oh, yes. And that's what's called in broadcasting terms the money shot.
It certainly is.
What are we going to
You
give
like
away?
the fall decor?
Oh, yes. Let me not pass that
Look
up.
at
You got
this.
a
I am
wreath?
all ready. I have not carved the pumpkin, but we are ready. We're getting there.
Okay, and you got a nice wreath in the back with all kinds of fall things.
It's very fall-y.
Yes.
But more importantly, we got a giveaway again today. Oh, look at all the special effects we have.
And your little dog too.
We said we were going to, and it's official. We're going to give away a GarrForce scarf.
All right, and that comes with the wine condom, right?
Oh, damn straight. I got a new stock of wine condoms.
Okay, so here's how this works. Are we doing a double giveaway? Right before the show, Alan said, I've got some Mickey Mouse ears if you want to give those away, so we can do two. And
yeah, let's do two. But let's for the first one here with the GarrForce scarf. Let me get the banner on the screen. We'll just have folks comment with the hashtag GarrForce, since that's what we're promoting, right? GarrForce, if I can spell it correctly, and I can add it to the screen.
And we are getting into scarf weather, so this is very
There we
apropos.
go.
Although this is
There we
kind of
go.
one of those year-round things. There
Yes,
you go.
it is. Yeah, put
So
that on.
comment.
Yeah.
Put that in the comments here on Facebook or on YouTube or on Twitch, and make sure you spell it correctly. The capitalization doesn't matter. And if you've won before, we're going to draw again. But otherwise, we hope to be able to reach you so we can get a mailing address somehow to send you the prize. But comment GarrForce and we'll do a drawing later.
Yeah, and
It
the
helps
computer
if you
chooses.
can message us on like Facebook or something like that. We'll
Yeah.
Usually
Right.
we figured it. So far we've figured it out.
Yes, the computer chooses. This is not a rigged election or any of that stuff that's going around. This is a computer. Alan pushes a button, doot, 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 and computer decides.
This is a tool
And
from
you
our
can
friends at
enter-
StreamYard.
And you can enter multiple times too, right?
Well, but it only recognizes it. I can't even talk. It only recognizes it once. So if you put in 12 entries, you're still only entered once, supposedly.
Okay.
Well, isn't that democratic? But okay.
Well,
it's a computer. It's a computer. It's working on somebody's algorithm. Ooh,
Well-
there's some thunder here.
Oh,
Did
are
you guys hear that
scared,
over? Did
Alan?
you guys
Are
hear
you-
that over the mic? No, I was
No.
just afraid it was going to interfere with the broadcast.
Okay, well, that's God's way of saying enough of this shit. Okay, I weed whacked today, so I'm pretty much ramped up and ready to go. I'm excited, and I think that might be the final whack for the season. Things are slowing down growth wise, and I think I can pretty much call it a season of whack, and I might be
Oh.
done. Yeah. So
That's kind of sad. I'm not ready to break out the snow blowers and shovels, but
No,
I guess
no, but-
we are in transition.
yeah, the leaves are falling. I mean, it's October. You can be in denial all you want, and then in about 2 weeks, some radio station in town, whatever town you're in, will start playing Christmas music, and then you go to the drawer, you get the gun out, and you put it in your mouth. I mean, this is the routine that we're living.
Oh, Lordy.
Okay, I think we're excited for this guest. I know I've talked to you about this all week, Leslie, and I think you're intrigued to hear more. And
Yeah, I mean, just the title of the book alone gives us a little insight into this woman's brain, and I'm liking it.
I know. Look at that. Imagine seeing that on the shelf. Yes, I'm going to that. Let's bring on Jodie Eckleberry-Hunt. Hello, Jodie. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad to have you on. And I'm going to start with the obvious. When you title a book, Move On, Motherfucker, and you go to your publisher with that, and what is their reaction?
You know, I have a really fabulous publisher, New Harbinger. And when we were tossing around titles for the book, I was very hesitant, thinking nobody would do this. And the editors went for it. And they said, there is no other title than Move On Motherfucker. That has to be the title. So they were all on board.
What is the handicap, though, when you go to promote it, you're going to be on broadcast facilities. They can't get remotely to that title. How do you do that?
Yeah, so I have been on some broadcasts where they bleep it out. Other broadcasts, they say, please just call it MFer or Mother Effer. Or I will say this, when I first started writing this, I told my kids it was called Move On, My Friend. So that's the vanilla version.
How old are your kids?
Well, now they're 15 and 16, and they're very conflicted and not sure if they should be proud that their mother is like this or quite embarrassed. So it kind of goes back and forth. I think there's a guilty shame.
Let's talk about the word on the cover of the book, because in the book you talk about how salty language should be a tool that you pull out, and it might not be good in polite company, but it is necessary to use salty language to get over some things, right?
Absolutely. So it's interesting. The University of Michigan Flint has a class on taboo language, and they just asked me to record some snippets and explain this, how it works. And from early on in childhood, we're told that cussing is a no-no. It's bad. It means that you're maybe a thug, or that's not the word I'm looking for, a hooligan. And so you shouldn't use those kind of words. Well, so what that does is it creates this emotional tone associated with those words. So it makes us want to use them even more, but we store them in a special part of the brain. So if we're not using them as everyday language, then when we do use them, they come with a cathartic release. And so there is strong emotion attached, and it all goes back to childhood. And again, using them sparingly. If you use them every day and all the time, I shouldn't say every day, but all the time, they lose the punch.
Let's start with what the book is all about. And I want to know how you came about writing the book. I know you're a psychologist, and you feature a number of your patients in the book and what they've gone through and how you applied what you learned and what the book says to their situation. And the gist of the book is, I'm going to guess that about all of us go through this, where you have a toxic situation at work or whatever, a toxic person in your life, and you just can't quite let it go, even years after that all has passed, and you get drained by it. You can't quite figure out what to do to move on. And that's, I would think, the overview of the book. And now you can fill in some of those blanks.
All right. So to be clear, when I started writing about this, I was very afraid that somebody would think, I'm not professional or what have you. So I actually looked at the research, and I was surprised to find there's a lot of research on the use of profanity. And so the reason I'm mentioning that is even some folks at Harvard have looked at this, and it is about the intent. So profanity can be used to be abusive, but in the context I'm suggesting, you're talking to yourself like you would a best friend. And so here's the point. Bad things happen, without a doubt, things that you can't control, things that are horrific. That piece is done. But the point at which you then say, I get to decide what I'm going to do with that, what meaning I'm going to make, how I'm going to let it shape me, is when you move from from victim to survivor. And this Move On Motherfucker is saying, not, you're an asshole. That's not what it is. It's saying to your friend, like, stop playing the role of motherfucker, where you let the assholes of the world get in your head and become a cancer. That's how I like to think of it. That negativity takes over. And so you're saying, come on, motherfucker, just let it go, move on. And I don't know. So for the people who haven't read the book, there's this story about how they catch monkeys in India. John Kabat-Zinn talks about it. And I think this is a key point. And supposedly they drill 2 small holes in the back of the coconut, pass a wire through, and wire it to the base of a tree. In the front, they cut a little slit that a monkey can put its hand in, but can't pull it out if it's holding something. So they put a banana in the coconut and go away. So the monkey comes out of the tree, puts its hand in the slit, grabs the banana, and is trying to pull its hand out. The monkey is stuck as long as the monkey is hanging onto the banana. But as soon as the monkey lets go, the monkey's free. But the monkey doesn't let go. And so in the same way, we get caught we get caught in it has to be, it must, it should. And as soon as we say, screw that, I'm moving on, we're free. So it's getting out of the traps that are in our mind because of how we see the world or what we've been told. And again, it's talking to yourself in a coaching or a very friendly kind of way.
Talk about the double arrow theory.
Yep. So let me put it into story form. Let's say it's a beautiful day. Gosh, it's fall. The leaves are turning, and you decide you're going to take a walk. You're in a good mood. The sun is shining. The leaves are beautiful. The air is so fresh, and you're just enjoying that walk, right? And all of a sudden, you're hit with an arrow, and the arrow, let's say, just is sticking straight out of both sides of your body, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, what happened?" That's the first arrow. So it hurts so bad. What am I going to do now? Who did this to me? This is horrible. What will I do now? What if I get an infection? What if I can't work? What if I lose my job? I can't take this. That's the second arrow. And that's the one that we control. And I guess what I'm saying, it's the awfulizing and the catastrophizing. It is like we're taking this imaginary second arrow and we're stabbing ourselves with it. It doesn't change the fact that something horrible happened. It doesn't change the pain, but we're making it all the worse by saying those negative things to ourselves. And that's called the Buddhist story, or the Buddhist story of the second arrow.
And you talk about, and in certain situations, you've got a shitty boss or a lot of shitty coworkers and all that. But then you also spend time in the book on health, where you come upon a health issue and now you're completely kneecapped by, oh my God, why did this happen to me? What am I going to do? And this could happen, obviously, to people that have led a very healthy lifestyle. And then they're thinking, well, why is this happening to me? And you give some guidance there.
Well, absolutely. I think, again, because of how we're programmed to see the world, our genetics, our life experience, which I explain in the book, we tend to go certain directions in our biased ways of looking at things. And so typically we all have this, a lot of people have this sense of, I should have, I would have, I could have, and because they want to control, right? But then what we do is we get sidetracked by all the things that we can't control. And it's coming back to saying, what can I control? I can control what I bring to the table, what I choose to do with it. And I don't know if there was something more specific than that you were referring to.
Well, just people that are come up and all of a sudden have a health problem. And now what am I going to do? And it's to your other point about don't pour any more gasoline on it. Don't second arrow it. Stay calm and deal with it step by step, as opposed to trying to blow the whole thing up. Well, I've got cancer, therefore I'm going to die. And then it gets out of hand and you can't emotionally write it properly.
Yeah. And actually, I think when we get bogged down in the guilt and the shame and all of the other awfulizing, we do forget about all the things that we can control, which is maybe we can journal about our feelings. Maybe we can go for counseling. Maybe we can go to a support group, looking at maybe the things that we're putting in our body that are increasing inflammation or aren't healthy. Or maybe we could go get a massage to manage all the tension we're storing in our body. There are a whole host of things that we can do. But when we get bogged down in that negativity, which is, again, natural. I think that there is a grieving process sometimes, but when we get stuck there in that, what I call emotional quicksand, we can't see any of the rest of it.
And you also mentioned emotional enema in the book. I love that. The emotional enema. Is that a good or a bad thing?
Well, it is good. I tell people all the time, you get emotionally constipated when you hold it all in and you're not dealing with it. And so sometimes an enema can cause a shitstorm, but at least you're clean.
There you go. And change is hard. Everybody goes through change at some point. You point out in your book how to manage that. And everything that I can imagine people going through, I think you have some kind of guidance. And that's what I found fascinating about the book, because some of these situations we all get into, they cripple us. And I know intellectually we know that we should move on, but emotionally it just drains us.
Yeah, and I think when I talk about my own story, the way I put it is cognitive behavioral therapy is identifying the negative things that the way you've been programmed to see the world that maybe are self-defeating or unhealthy, and then identifying that negative voice in your head and learning to argue back with it. That is a tried and true research-based method that works in psychology. And then mindfulness is trying to be in this moment and say, gosh, I need to let it go. What do I have to learn here? Sort of like each day is important. Let it get out of the past, get out of the future. But in my own scenario, those things weren't working for me, at least in a sustained way. And so I said, I told myself to do these things, and myself responded, fuck you. So my point in adding in the profanity was like supercharging it. It's like a way of elevating it to get your own attention and to call yourself out in a friendly way of when you're actively choosing to play the role of the motherfucker. And that's sort of the basis of it is sometimes, whether you know it or not, you're choosing to play that role. And it's calling yourself out in an accountable, friendly way. But I also feel like it's important for me to make clear, this is not a primary treatment for depression. It's not a primary treatment for trauma or bipolar disorder. It is a life stress kind of thing. That doesn't mean that it's not helpful for people who have those disorders. But I guess what I also don't want to simplify significant mental health problems and say that it's easy to just tell yourself to move on. That's not what it's about.
And Alan, if you could put Dan's comment on the screen, I want to read that in just a second here. This from the book: we may get frustrated because it often seems that lots of bad things happen at once. I argue that lots of good stuff happens at once too. We just pay more attention to the bad and remember it longer. That's true, right? I mean, that's so true.
Yeah, I see it all the time, particularly with physicians and nurses who are fixers and healers. And they're not focused really on all the people that they made this tremendous difference in their lives, even as small as giving an immunization or giving somebody hope or spending some time with people. They focus on all the things that all the cases, or I shouldn't say cases, people who maybe had a bad outcome or that they weren't able to help. And I get that because they stick with you, but we've got to force our brains into equal time because otherwise we don't survive. We're just exhausted.
You talked a minute ago about journaling, and you highly recommend that throughout the book, writing things down and seeing what progress is made, and then rewarding yourself, even for little things, as you try to move up and out of the shitstorm.
Yeah. So one of the things I also say to people is, you are the expert on you, but at least be honest with yourself about your own bullshit. Like we all have our own bullshit things. I had a guy say to me, who's a friend, and he was talking about, he had gotten a divorce and he's starting to date again. And he noticed himself sort of engaging in some past behaviors. And he said, no, to himself, no, you're not going to play that shit again. It didn't work the first time and it's not going to work this time. And I think that's the point also. Is part of knowing your own bullshit is knowing that when we try to make positive change in our life, the hard part isn't initiating the change. The hard part is keeping it going. And so we've got to incentivize ourselves. I guess what I'm saying is when you're your own best therapist, but set things up so that you will be successful. And like if you're trying to train somebody else to do something different, you give them rewards because that makes it more likely they're going to do it. You're no different. You just have to know your own bullshit and set things up for success.
Here's Dan's comment. My father worked in profanity the way other artists might work in oils or clay. It was his true medium, a master. That's great. Thank you, Dan. Hey,
you know where that's from? That's from The Christmas Story. That little kid.
Oh, yeah.
His dad.
Okay. All right.
It's hysterical.
A thing you mentioned in the book also, Jodie, that I think is dead on. People who want to confront the person who screwed them over and get some kind of apology or closure, as they call it, thinking that that's going to happen and it's going to make it all right. And you say that's almost never going to happen. You highly don't recommend it?
Yeah, I guess most of the time in my experience, when folks want to confront somebody, it's because they're looking for something from the other person. And I try to remind them that, the decision whether or not you confront is yours. But if you're doing it to get something from the other person, you are leaving your own ass hanging in the wind. You are leaving yourself vulnerable to be hurt again. So what you can do is you can set things up. Like if you absolutely have to confront somebody, do it because you need to say something and be done, not because you need to hear something. But I don't use the term forgiveness. I use the term finding peace. Finding peace is something you do for yourself. People get caught up in, I don't want to forgive because the person doesn't deserve it. Well, that's not what forgiveness or finding peace is about. It's about you being able to move on from it. So it's not a grace you give somebody else. It's a grace you give yourself.
All right. And I'm going to end with this out of the book, Life is a Shit Show. Dance like you know the song. And there's so much more that's in the book. I just wanted to give an overview and highly recommend the book. And Jodie, I thank you for this because I learned some things that I will be using in my life.
Well, and I that is my whole point. I wanted to make psychology relatable and useful to people who might not necessarily read a self-help book. But I do feel like I want to say, my next book is coming out in July, and it's called Getting to Good Riddance, a no bullshit guide to breakup survival, or surviving a breakup or something like that. But anyway, it's all about taking this technique and getting over heartbreak and understanding unhealthy relationships.
I will have you back on when that comes out.
Thank you. I'd love it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Thank you, Jodie Eckleberry-Hunt. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep, you got to get that book. I mean, if you're going through any of this stuff or have, and it lingers, she's giving you some guidance, and I think we all could use that every now and then. All right, Leslie, you learn anything?
I'm feeling lighter and brighter having listened to what she had to say. So often when you think of psychologists, it's always, it seems so negative, but I think she gives some really solid advice.
Yeah.
And makes you feel empowered in the process. That's kind of cool.
And she covers a lot of things in the book. Like I mentioned, if you're going through a health issue or a work issue that you're currently in, and you can't quit,
no,
but you need something to get your head into it so you can maneuver through it. And she covers a lot of that. She, as I mentioned, brings up patients that she has had in her psychology profession and talks about what they're going through and how she advised them. So it's good.
Hey, Garry, before we move on the show, you need to move the microphone away from your face today because I'm getting a lot of scratching against your face.
Where is it?
Right there. Yeah. Try to keep that a little bit further away because that's the scratching we're hearing on the audio today.
I can put it in the other room. What is it scratching?
All right. So we'll continue with the rest of the Leslie. I was going to say, we'll continue with the rest of the Leslie Kyling show. Go.
Condoms a go. Hear it.
So with that, if you did join us a little late, hashtag GarrForce for your chance to win a GarrForce scarf and a wine condom.
And
how many other podcasts are doing this?
No, you're not going to get this on Joe Rogan. No.
Please.
No, please. How are we going to do this, Alan? Give away one now and then later, or what are you planning on here? The mouse ears later?
Oops, it helps when I unmute myself. Let's do one more segment, and after that segment, we'll do the GarrForce drawing, and I'll announce a hashtag for the Mickey ears drawing.
Okay.
In fact, here, wait, I'll pop on the screen and show off the Mickey ears now to get people to stick around, right? Here are the Mickey ears that I'm going to give away.
Look at that.
Very
genuine. They're genuine Walt Disney World Mickey ears that were gifted to me at one of the events I was at. And they've got very neat innards, too, which is a shame since they're innards. But they got this nice Mickey Mouse Club imprint on the inside as well.
Oh.
Don't wear them when you're going to get really sweaty, because that's when the inside of those hats gets kind of grody. But in the meantime,
I won't do any weed whacking with it, is what you're saying.
That's kind of, not to mention, honestly, I think you should weed whack in mouse ears.
And
that
TikTok it.
Fun. There you go. Hey, you want to hear a story?
Yes, I do.
We don't necessarily have to do a whole batch here, but something that our listeners can probably relate to. We've talked about people who make models, most importantly, our own Keith, who has like done some amazing model building on his own. But it looks like the folks at Lego are going to give him a run for or for his money. Lego is releasing its biggest model ever. The company this week unveiled its 9,090-piece replica of the RMS Titanic. At more than 53 inches long, it's incredibly exacting in its detail, including the ship's bridge, promenade deck, and even the swimming pool, says Lego design master Mike I think it's Sayaki. Excuse me if I got that wrong. But anyway, he says, designing the Lego Titanic with such a focus on immense detail and scale, but also accuracy, has allowed us to create one of the most challenging building experiences to date. The ship will be available for pre-order beginning November 1st. The price, $630.
Get out of here.
And you can't even put it in water. It comes in like 3 major parts. I mean, this thing is freaking gigantic.
That Titanic picture that was on a few seconds ago, producer Keith, built that from scratch. That's not a kit, right? That was everything he gathered.
Balsa wood, right?
Balsa wooded it.
Yeah, that was me, balsa wood, an X-Acto knife, and a lot of glue.
And that took how long?
A couple years.
Wow.
Oh, thank God you said years, because I'm thinking he just locked himself in a room and created this thing. And okay, cool.
Now
that gives some perspective.
Now that we've heard that the Lego set is $600+, I'll bet you could get a good amount of money for that.
I could. My wife was actually, she saw the story yesterday, and she went as far as looking it up, because she's always looking for, some sort of, Christmas or birthday gift. And she looked it up, and as soon as she saw the price, she was like, maybe not.
Yeah. Why would you need another one? What, do you have dueling Titanics? Why would you want another one? Yours is probably,
but she seemed okay with the idea.
Well, that's why you married her, because she gets you. But
and did you guys just drop a ton of money on your honeymoon, or was that all inclusive?
Well, you got to pay for, gratuities and things like that. So yeah, we did have to pay a little bit extra, but the people at Royal Caribbean, they were worth it, because the ship usually has 6,500 passengers and 1,800 crew. And for our cruise, there were 2,100 passengers and 1,800 crew. So it was almost like a 1-to-1 crew to passenger ratio.
Nice.
Oh,
nice.
Dude.
So we were going to
literally, if you could pay extra to go on that ship with a third passengers and full crew, it would totally be worth it.
You were going to try to call us from the ship last week, but obviously that hookup didn't happen. Any other highlights that you'd like to mention?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. Turns out Mexico and the Bahamas are really hot, even at the beginning of October. So that's the big headline.
Okay, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Keith, you don't strike me as a man who tans either. And that's not being judgy. It's just being observant. How did that go for you?
Actually, really well. I probably got, just a smidgen darker. I'm not visible from space anymore. But I didn't really burn. We did slathered on the sunscreen, and actually, I'm kind of proud of myself, because I didn't emerge, like beet red or anything. So I'm kind of happy about that.
Did they have skeet shooting and all that stuff we see in the commercials, and water slides and go-kart tracks and mountains and things? These things are huge. These ships are just nuts.
Well, I mean, so this ship and like its sister ships are the biggest ships in the world, and it's so big that it's actually got like cabins on each side of the ship with an actual courtyard in the middle. And
Still
so
love that one.
like an open air courtyard in the middle of the ship, and there's a carousel. There's like diving shows on it. It was it was really something. But so when we were in Nassau, in the Bahamas, at one point we were parked next to the Carnival Mardi Gras, which is their big new ship, and that ship actually has a roller coaster on it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And Misty was just like, "Aren't you trying a little too hard?" Like, what was that meeting like? Where they said, "All right, what are we going to do to make our ship different?" Yes, a roller coaster.
Yeah, because they have to top the other line, and they're getting crazier and bigger. And where do you go from here? One's gonna launch. Jeff Bezos is gonna launch off one of those. That'll be an attraction.
Can you do like a Sharks and Jets thing? Like, do you form teams, and then it's like,
you know what they should do along that line, Leslie? They should have water cannons on these, and then the opposing companies they get close to each other and they can start doing pirate stuff.
Well, I am the captain now.
When we were parked next to the Mardi Gras, Misty and I were walking on deck, and on the Mardi Gras they had a giant TV over the pool, and there were people on our ships watching the movie on their ship.
Okay.
Okay,
you
I
gave
do that
Disney.
on
Wait. The
airplanes all
Disney.
the time when I don't want to pay for the movie. I just watch the guy in front of me. That's how
There
I
you go.
watched The Revenant once.
Yes,
The Disney Cruise Line is the last remaining, and probably the first to do fireworks at sea. And when the Fireworks at Sea show was coming up, you could see out on the horizon at least a half a dozen other ships sort of circling us to watch the Disney fireworks when they shot them off in the Caribbean.
Okay, I got another idea. When you said Captain Phillips, they should have Barkhad Abdi guys in little boats chasing the cruise ship, and then they wait a minute. They announce, "Hey, we have pirates on the starboard," and then people can take water cannons and try to shoot the pirates. Oh my God! I'm getting chubby.
You know what? This is going to entice the gaming community. If you could seriously start firing on other people and boats, that would be so awesome.
Wait,
it would be. I'd pay extra for that too. Give me the ship with a third capacity, with a full crew, and we're shooting at pirates.
There you go. We got something here. Dan says wild animals are wild, Bahamas are hot. That could be at a mug. Larry says, yes, put the Lego Titanic in water so you relive. I'm going to relive here in a minute. Relive the experience, the beginning, the building, and the end to see how it all sinks. So what I think he's referring to is when I saw the film of them building the Titanic, the riveters were so fascinated by the movie camera, they weren't riveting properly. There's your answer.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
There you go. You could do, kind of a CSI version of your Lego build. See, this is where it went wrong.
Yes.
This is where the camera was set up, and this is where the guys were looking at the camera instead of
I'm
riveting.
not bullshitting. If you get a chance to see this film, it must be, I don't know if it's online, but the guys are riveting. And the movie camera in the early 1900s was such a fascinating new thing. They were like, what's that? And you can see them missing every other rivet. I swear to God, I'm onto something here. All right. Well,
let's do our giveaway before we take Keith off the air here.
All right.
Let's try to get that on there now. I'll add myself in. We'll put I don't need to put that one on the screen. I need to put the giveaway machine on the screen.
This is always very exciting, you guys.
This button over here. It's a bunch of buttons to get there, but once we get there, it's going to be well worth it as always, right? Here we go. There we go. So we got 40 entries, it says here on the GarrForce hashtag screen. Let's give it a roll and see what happens. Ready? Here goes.
Come on, Garry.
I say we need some theme music for this, don't we?
I think Mr. Meier's got it.
And there's our winner,
Gail Osgood Kendala.
Congratulations. Leslie, Garry, one of us will reach out on Facebook. Well,
I can. You can
we can message us. From Messenger the Garry Meier Show on Facebook or Leslie, and we'll get that out to her.
Yeah, all right. Good for you. And there, once again, This is what you win, Gail. This is very exciting. She wins.
Right, let me solo Leslie up on the screen. There we go.
Win
There it
a
is.
GarrForce scarf.
Nice.
Oh, and
a wine
very
condom.
own wine condom.
Now that is a combo. Karen says in the comments, no giveaway trinkets from Keith's trip.
Oh, that would have been a good idea. I did see there's a paper Titanic model for like $10 online. Maybe we could give that away in a week or two.
Okay. All right. So you just open it up and pull it out, or do you have to do some assemblage with that?
You have to assemble it, yeah. But hey, maybe they could I could assemble it and then send it to him. That's what we'll do.
There. I
it's
like
going to
that.
take him several years.
Yeah.
Because he wants to be authentic about it. But
all right. Should we load up the mouse ears? Is that what we're doing now?
I'm trying to find the buttons. Yeah. All right. Let's load them up. And I've got a banner that I created for this. We're going to have people make my friends at Disney happy by hashtagging #DisneyWorld50 because it's the 50th anniversary of the Walt Disney World Resort. So comment in the comments, #DisneyWorld50. And even if you entered the last one, you can enter this one. But like always, if you won before, we're going to draw again. But we'll do that towards the end of the show.
Right from the center, Disney World, not at Disney's store in Wichita. This is right from Orlando. All right.
So should we look north, Mr. Meier?
Yes, we should. But before we bring Ryan on, let's pay homage to the fine sponsors of the program, the premium members, of course, who have subscribed to those lengthier shows. Thank you very much. If anybody out there hasn't done that, please do that. That's what keeps all of this going. And Bettenhausen Automotive, they are the fine automotive sponsors of the GarrForce. Let's see what they have to offer.
Get a man-made muscle masterpiece at Bettenhausen Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Fiat, and certified Megastore in Tinley Park and Orland Park. Get 0% for 72 months on a new 2021 Dodge Charger or Challenger. Bettenhausen has hundreds of vehicles to choose from. Your best Dodge buying experience starts now at BettenhausenCDJR.com.
And we love David Hochberg here, don't we? Yes, we do, because if you're looking for a mortgage or a refi or a 21-day cash, well, it's the best thing next to a cash offer, 21-day close, because the cash offer always is at the top. And if you want to be in to get some of these places, you got to have something where the seller doesn't hear, well, from you, I have a house that I have to sell. It'll be a contingency. No, that's not going to work. David has all this information about these different things, veterans loans and all kinds of stuff that I didn't even know about. He saves you money. David and his team, there are the numbers, 855-56-DAVID. A number of listeners have commented over the weeks on how they've used David, and they were very happy with the results. Very happy. All right.
Because he's such a straight up dude. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's got a radio show on Saturday mornings at 10 Central on WGN AM. It streams too, if you're not in the Chicago area. And he answers a lot of questions of this nature, and he's no nonsense. And that's what you got to have in a guy. He doesn't have time. You don't have time to be screwing around. He gets to the heart of the matter and saves you money. There's nothing wrong with that. That's why I love him. All right. Now,
hey, we haven't mentioned though too. If you are watching us on, well, obviously you're watching us on some platform, but we really would love it if you would subscribe and share. The more eyeballs we get, the better off we all are. And then let's face it, we're doing these giveaways. This is how you keep this kind of quality content coming your way. So please subscribe and share as much as you can.
Yes, thank you for doing that. And Dan says, when are you giving away a Ram truck? Well, I'd love to do that if Bettenhausen will offer one. And then Karen says that David Hochberg has lost 20 pounds on his new diet. All right.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Glad to hear that. Okay. Ryan is checking in from the Dairy State, and there he is. Hello, Ryan.
Happy Friday. You solved my anniversary gift for my wife. That Lego Titanic should be right up her alley.
Okay. And he's not kidding, because she is completely in love with the whole Titanic world. And when she saw,
there she is. There's the replica dress. Yes,
the replica dress
Jack,
and the heart of the ocean.
Okay.
So I missed that. So that solves. We have our 10th anniversary coming up in a couple weeks. So that might be right up the alley.
Oh my God, and what a bonding experience when the husband and wife sit down and put 9,000 pieces together. Oh.
Yes.
Or if Keith would, for a nice price, sell that to you.
One.
There.
We're good to go. So yeah, thank you for that. I had a couple pictures before we do my update I was going to share here with you.
Please do.
There, I know how you like bundles of drugs and meat. So there's a story I sent you. They're buying cocaine by exchanging meat for drugs. So that was overseas.
Where are they doing? This is overseas, right?
Yeah, overseas, yeah.
And it's cocaine. People are paying their cocaine dealer with meat. What drug dealer would accept meat?
But let's face it, meat doesn't screw up your sinuses the way some of the drugs will. So, yeah.
Okay.
It might clog your arteries. But,
hey, kids, did you hear that little public service announcement? Meat doesn't screw up your sinuses like cocaine.
And then I the other week we talked about Fury Road, and I did a little photoshopping, not very good, but there's Garry on the doof wagon.
On the doof wagon. I really want the doof wagon. I want to own the doof wagon. I love that vehicle. That is an incredible movie. And thank you, Ryan, for putting me on the front of the doof wagon.
So
it did sell, right? There was.
Yes,
they
I
did
think it
have
did
the.
sell,
They.
Do we know
they
for
had
how
the
much?
option.
No, I'll have to look that up.
But it was in Australia or New Zealand, so shipping was going to be a little difficult.
Yeah, I want my ground transportation. I know GarrForce for wheels up. That's aviation. But on the ground, I want the water cannon trucks and the doof wagon representing the GarrForce.
And before we do the update, and don't answer this yet, have you made bread yet, Garry, this season? So
we're getting into the bread making season, and Ryan is helping me look for a bread sponsor. And I will do right by that sponsor, as I have done without a sponsor. After I make the bread, I take it out of the machine and then I hand it to my wife, and she does a beautiful assembly of a picture. She makes a nice little picture out of it. It looks like a postcard. And so I will do that right for any bread sponsor.
Yeah. So in my report, you'll see there's a bread theme in it. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we're getting into that season. I kind of save it for the fall, because what the procedure is on Sundays, when any football game starts that I want to watch, start the bread machine 4 hours and 15 minutes later. When the game's over, the aroma's filling the house, and I got bread, and that's Sunday, and it's dark out. And that kind of massages me a little bit as we get into this darkness earlier and earlier.
And it helps you get through 60 minutes sometimes, right?
Yes,
so
those
hard pieces in 60 minutes, that gives you a little bread.
Oh my God. After that, it's either hit the bottle, which I don't want to do, because I had it on Friday in this show.
So
I don't want to go right back to it. I could, but I think I'll do some bread. And you're right. Sometimes those 60-minute stories are heavy. Brutal.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So you got a report for us too.
I do. And there's a bread theme in there. So you'll see it here.
All right, Alan. You
all right, we're loading it up. We're loading it up. Here it comes. There it goes.
It's Wisconsin, yeah, hey.
Hello from Wisconsin, this is Ryan, and this week's update's going to be around odors, specifically odors in your house. Now that the seasons are changing, you may have different odors in your house from when you had the windows open this summer. Some may be good, like pumpkin spice candles. Other may be like that old pizza in the couch from last week that's starting to grow some stuff on it and starting to smell. Well, a local Milwaukee news outlet picked up on this and ran a consumer report about how to identify bad smells in your house. I didn't know you needed a guide or someone to tell you how to find the good or bad smells. Well, they go through all of the details of how you do that, but then point out it may be your washer. You may be using too much cleaning products in there, which are building up and causing the smell. Myself personally, recently at a church rummage sale, bought a $5 bread maker. It's in pretty good shape. Maybe looked only like it used once or twice. Here's a picture of it. So my choice to cover up the smells in the house for fall is to run some bread through the bread maker, and that will make sure the house smells great every time. I know Gary's a big fan of making bread himself, and he's probably starting to think about firing up his bread maker. Now others, like in Franklin, Wisconsin, may want to do some marijuana in their house to help cover up some odors. Well, recently, the police department came upon a small farm in the Franklin, Wisconsin. There was 6 greenhouses growing marijuana. Instead of shutting them down, taking all the product out and burning it, they just gave them a citation. Nobody changed anything, and they came back a little later and gave a second citation. Again, they continued to let them grow the weed right there on site. Well, the mayor of the local municipality is angry that nobody's doing more to shut this down. Maybe they're just, again, trying to cover up some fall odors in their house that are unpleasant. Hope you have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.
What is the legality in Wisconsin on pot?
It's not legal.
Nothing.
I think
Not
that's
medicinal?
No. I don't know that piece. I don't think so, but I don't know.
Okay. All right.
But the mayor's having a fit because they're just giving them citations. So.
Okay, housetosis is what you're talking about here. And the best way to find out if you have housetosis, have somebody come over.
Yes.
And be honest when they walk in. I mean, you
Yes.
walk into a house, boom, it hits you right away.
Yes. So I thought that was interesting. You had the consumer report guide on how to find odors, and it might be your washing machine.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that would be a buildup, but you've got to find the right friend. It's
Yes.
the friend who would tell you that, you've got toilet paper stuck to your shoe.
Yes.
This is somebody who's got your back and will be brutally honest because that's what you want and that's what you need.
You don't want to walk into somebody's house and have that nursing home smell hit you right in the noggin.
No.
Yeah. That's
So we'll see how the bread maker for $5. I thought, I couldn't pass it up.
Oh, you said, I think it's pretty good. It's $5. It looks brand new. What do you? I mean, I think it's pretty. That's a damn good deal.
And I don't think I paid $5 because the last day it was anything you could put in the bag was half off, or anything in the bag was $5. Anything you couldn't put in the bag was half off. So I think I only paid like $2.50 for it, even though it says $5 on it.
It looks like the manual's still inside.
It is. It is.
You can't buy the bread pan.
No.
It's just a plain old bread pan at Target for that price.
$5.
So
I
think you
that
did
was
okay.
Yeah, I think I did okay. So we'll see how it cooks this weekend. That's Hank's and our plan this weekend is make some bread.
All right. Well, you can't go wrong with a bread machine. I'm telling you.
So
it's just the best thing invented, I think.
We just need a sponsor. We need a sponsor or two, and we'll be all set.
Next to the airplane, the bread maker is the best invention ever, Murray. Okay, I think Leslie, you have some stories before we wrap.
I do.
Let's remind people before you do, Leslie.
Giveaway.
You want to do it?
I was going to say, let's remind folks one more time to go ahead and comment for in honor of the Disney World 50th anniversary, hashtag Disney World 50, and we'll give away a pair of those authentic Walt Disney World mouse ears.
Okay, and before we go to Leslie, Ryan, I'm seeing in the comment section the Brewers are playing. Where are they in their series? Have they already? This is the second game.
I don't know. I tells you I don't follow. I don't. Fan. Yeah, I don't. I'll have to get into the Brewers next week. I don't know.
All right. I'm just asking because the Sox lost their second one out of 5. It's a best of 5.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not a true Brewers fan, I guess.
Walter says it's game 1.
Hey, there you go. Thank you, Walter.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Where are we in this whole menagerie? Leslie's got stories.
Well, let's talk about stuff. Okay. Just days before he's scheduled to head into space, William Shatner is getting brutally honest with his feelings about becoming the oldest man to ever travel outside the Earth's atmosphere. He says, while discussing the upcoming flight with members of the Blue Origin team, he brought up the 1986 Challenger disaster,
Great.
To which they responded that everything should be fine. Shatner says, quote, "I'm going up in a rocket, and our best guess is it should be fine. I'm terrified. I'm Captain Kirk, and I'm terrified." And then, alluding to his memorable Twilight Zone episode, he said, quote, "I'm planning on putting my nose against the window, and my only hope is I won't see someone else looking back."
Twilight Zone episode, if you haven't seen it, he's a passenger on the plane. He's sitting by the window there. He looks out the window, and there's this creature on the wing.
Tearing it apart.
Oh, my God.
Bad day.
Oh, my God.
There is a man in New Jersey who is in critical condition after apparently jumping from the 9th story of a high-rise apartment. The 31-year-old miraculously survived by landing on a BMW parked below. Witnesses say the man was conscious after hitting the car and actually got up on his own before falling back down onto the ground. They say his long-term prognosis is unclear.
We have a photo here. Do you have the
Do we
photo?
have?
I don't know. I thought we.
I don't have a photo loaded.
Oh,
Okay.
I got a picture of a dead fish.
No. So actually, the guy looked better than the dead fish. So if you get a chance, look up New Jersey 9-story man falls. This is one of those. It should be one of those iconic photos that's around for a while because.
Wait till you see it. The whole
Who
roof
survives
collapsed.
this kind of thing?
Yeah,
and
the
he's
whole roof is
looking at
collapsed.
this
Yeah.
camera.
Right.
Oh my
What
God.
happened?
So, and initially they didn't know whether he was pushed, fell, or jumped, but it looks like he jumped. And I'm thinking, I'm hoping he gets some help.
And Ryan, you're
meanwhile,
quick at this. If you could find that picture and hold it up to the camera before we're done.
there you go. Meanwhile, California firefighters were called to the coast off Santa Barbara this week to rescue a woman who was seen hanging from a cliff. Emergency responders showed up with trucks and ladders, drones, and climbing gear to carry out the tricky rescue. But this was no rescue at all. It turns out the woman hanging from the rocks was actually a prop mannequin that was left over after a recent movie shoot. The fire department, that is, credits those who called 911 saying it's always better to be safe than sorry.
That's right.
But in that, shouldn't the movie crew have to pay some sort of penalty for not cleaning up after themselves?
Exactly.
There you go. And let's see, I think I have one more. It's one more. You know the old saying, a man who is his own lawyer has a fool for a client? Well, that
Yes.
was especially true when this lawyer tried to carry out a citizen's arrest on the judge hearing his case. The 37-year-old defendant in Wales was answering to a charge of assault when he blurted out in court that he did not recognize the authority of the man hearing his case. He then rushed the bench and tried to grab the judge before he was wrestled down by security personnel. Needless to say, he's now facing additional charges and might want to get some new counsel before his next appearance.
And that would be, I know it's not the United States, but that would be a tase. Because we have an amended Third Amendment that says you can tase these mopes, no questions asked, no paperwork, but I don't know if they have that over there. They should.
They probably.
Hey,
so
there it is. There's the guy who, jumped or fell or whatever. Look at that. Car's completely collapsed.
Holy smokes.
And he survived.
I mean, we hear about people who've crashed through trees and bushes and stuff like that, but damn, that looks like a hard fall. I bet he's got some bruises, huh?
Yeah, I think so. All right. We're going to bring Alan on. He's going to push a button and somebody's going to win some ears.
All right, let me hit the right screen for that. That'd be this button. And I love when I do this on camera. This button and this button.
And this button.
And this button. There we go, right? It's going to be on the screen. All right. And I'll hold up the ears in the little box here that I'm in. Gary's got his screen door. Leslie can hold up a bottle of wine, right? All right, here we go. Let's
I got
do
my
it,
beer
Ryan.
goggles on.
Here we go. Barry Thompson, congratulations. I will contact you from Gary's Facebook account for an address, and we'll get that out to you as soon as I can get over to the post office and find something appropriate to mail it in so it doesn't get too smashed on the way to wherever you are in the world.
Next week on this program, I will talk to people involved in the creation of this show on Netflix called Chicago Party Ant. This started as a thread on Twitter and became a show on Netflix. And that will
Honest
be...
God, the Twitter posts were just freaking hysterical.
Yeah, they made it into an animated series, and I'll talk to the main players on that. And also next week, we've had this man on before, Steve Rubin. He has written the James Bond encyclopedias, and I'm going to have him on probably Wednesday to talk about what happened with the opening of the new Bond movie this weekend, finally, after a number of postponements because of COVID. But it's opening this weekend, and they're expecting it to be a big hit. And it's called No Time to Die. And I talked to Stephen today, and get this, he drove George Lazenby to the premiere in Hollywood. It was it last night or night before. George Lazenby has the dubious honor of being a James Bond for one movie.
Yeah.
And I said to Steve, why did he only do one movie? He said his agent told him that the Bond series was pretty much over. This was in the late 60s.
Oh,
we are now watching the 25th Bond movie open this weekend with Daniel Craig. This is Daniel Craig's final Bond. And I guess
there were some tears shed at the end of the production.
Yeah, I guess this one gets pretty emotional and deep, and a lot of moving parts, Stephen said.
He made me like James Bond, and I hated James Bond.
Really?
I
think he's the best Bond. I know Sean Connery was great, but I really liked what Daniel Craig did with it. So anyway, Stephen will be on to talk more about how the movie opened this weekend and the different things that he can share, because he's written the encyclopedia on 007. I hope you all have a great weekend. I will not see you in temple or church or mosque on Sunday because we're still kind of keeping our distance. And let's take that cannoli coming down the aisle. It's complimentary. There it is. What about the schnauzer, Leslie?
You know, I would wrap mine in a GarrForce scarf if I had one. And there may be opportunities.
You have one. If you had a schnauzer.
I'm giving this one away, but I think there may be more on the way. You got to stick around and find out.
Okay, I'll do that if you take that scarf off your lap. That's it. Green the green, gear down, flaps are down. The voice of the globe, the GarrForce, has landed.
If you like that, I got other stuff I think you're going to like. This is the GarrForce